Join us now for Education Matters, a weekly look at the real people and real stories in education across North Carolina.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Education Matters. I'm your host, Keith Poston. Education Matters was created by the Public School Forum of North Carolina, a nonprofit statewide education group I have the honor of leading as its president and executive director. Our goal with this new program is to provide you, the public, with the real facts about what's going on in education in North Carolina. Now, when I'm asked about the Public School Forum, I often say, we are nonpartisan, but we do have one bias. We believe in the power of public education. I think it's the single most important thing we do as a state. Now, each week, our show will have a central theme or topic. This week, it's teacher pipeline. With increasing retirements and higher turnover in our teacher workforce, along with steep declines in our teacher preparation programs, how will we ensure we have the teachers our children need? We'll discuss that today with some terrific guests. Now, each week before we tackle the main topic, we're going to open with a segment that we're calling Edlines. It's a quick scan of education headlines across North Carolina and the U.S. What's in the news, what people are talking about, and what's trending on social media. You'll be able to find information at ncforum.org, our website, about Edlines and other topics we cover today. With just over a month before the general election, we just watched the first presidential debate where I don't believe education ever came up at all. Now, here in North Carolina, particularly in the governor's race, education issues are front and center. Both Governor Pat McCrory and Attorney General Roy Cooper are making education, and in particular teacher pay, central to their pitch to voters. 53 people from across the country have applied to be the superintendent of what will be North Carolina's newest system, known as the Achievement School District. This new district was created by the General Assembly just this past session, and it will take 5 of the state's lowest performing public elementary schools and put them under new management. Outside entities, such as charter school operators, will then take control of the schools and manage and operate them. Similar efforts in other states like Tennessee have not been without controversy. We will definitely focus on this in a future episode. There was a great story this week in the Raleigh News and Observer about Crossroads Flex High School. It's a new public school that just opened in August in Wake County. The school targets athletes, performers, other Wake County teens who don't want a traditional high school schedule. It's really cool and innovative mix of online and in-person courses with classes in the morning, afternoon, or the evening. It's the first of its kind in Wake County, and it has attracted students whose outside pursuits like theater, dance, sports often conflict with a standard high school schedule. We'll have to have the principal and some students on and hear how that's going. And finally, the state just completed a survey to get input from the public on what has historically been a very contentious issue, the state's mandated school start and stop dates. On one side, you have tourism folks and many parents who don't want traditional school calendars encroaching on summer vacation time. And on the other side are school officials who say that the lack of flexibility leads to problems like testing issues, and other education advocates who believe we need more options to meet the students, whether it's the length of the school day or the overall calendar. The survey is part of a likely effort next year to review current law and propose changes, if any. As I said at the top of the program, we're going to focus on North Carolina's teacher pipeline today. Take a look at these numbers that are coming up on the screen. The University of North Carolina system is our state's single largest source of teachers in North Carolina. The numbers here on the screen represent the enrollments at these prospective schools of education. You can see enrollment down as much as 38% since 2010 at UNC and 28% down at NC State. Overall enrollment in our UNC system schools of education is down 30% since 2010. Well, who better to help us understand what this all means than our first 2 guests? We have Dr. Mary Ann Danowitz, who is the Dean of the School of Education at NC State, and we have Dr. Van Dempsey, who is the Dean of the Watson School of Education at UNC Wilmington. Thank you both for joining us here today.
Thank you, Keith, for having us.
Thank you. Well, Marianne, I want to start with you. I just showed the numbers for NC State on the screen overall since 2010. What are you seeing at NC State in terms of enrollment trends, both undergrad and graduate in education programs?
Well, Keith, as you highlighted the decline, we are experiencing what most other schools are. But what we're seeing are some, I think, appreciable differences, that it's very, very clear right now that the students and the professional educators who are coming to us for further education are deeply committed and passionate in what they're doing. Also, what we have done is we've made it very clear that we are continuing to have the highest standards that we've always had. And that means that we're not trying to increase our numbers to go against the national trends. That means that our undergraduates who are coming in come in with a grade point average of about 4.3 and SAT scores hovering around 1,200. It also means that we know that our professional educators who are continuing for their master's or doctorates are coming in because they believe in the importance of continuing their teaching and learning to be better in their roles. It means they're picking up more of the costs than they have in the past.
Right. Van, I saw UNC Wilmington's numbers a little bit different, at least on the graduate side. You've seen some increases. What's been the trend at UNCW over the last few years?
We've seen different trends within a broader pattern of enrollment changes. What has happened at UNCW is we've seen declines in undergraduate enrollment over the last 5 years. The nature of the decline is different depending on the certification program the students are in. We've seen increases in graduate programs. So while we've seen some shifts in the undergraduate population, people who are coming to the university as freshmen and sophomores, and we're focused on trying to change that direction at the undergraduate level, there are some programmatic efforts that have happened with our academic leadership in the college where we've actually seen some growth in some areas at the graduate level that are offsetting some of the declines at the undergraduate level.
And I got to say, looking at these numbers, 28, 30, 35% decline, that's kind of alarming, particularly when you understand that, again, we're focusing on the UNC systems because we have you, but we have our private colleges and universities that are also seeing declines. I mean, we've got, and those are declines in enrollment, so in some ways, that hasn't actually hit us yet, right? Because these are students who would have been graduating in a couple of years. What are students telling you about either why they're choosing not to go in? I mean, what do you think's going on?
Well, we know from students as well as teachers who work in our PDS partnership, our faculty who are interacting on a regular basis with people out in schools, that there is sort of a narrative out there that cast the teaching profession to some degree in a negative light. And so there are pressures that are on young people who are thinking about teacher education as a major, career changers who might want to go into the profession. And that the context in which they're making that decision is certainly different than what it was when I became a teacher.
You emailed me something earlier. I'd love for you to share this with our audience. I thought these were really cool.
Sure.
You asked your students about.
The Watson Student Leaders, which is a group in our college, I asked them when I was invited to be on the panel if they would talk to their colleagues in the teacher education program through their classes and through surveys to try to get information on why teacher education students might be cautious about the choice to become a teacher. We converted that into a Wordle based on the answers, which is what this is, and you can see in the visualization of their answers what was most prominent to teacher education students.
Wow.
In our program.
Marianne, let me ask you something. There are no silver bullets, obviously, to address this, but if you could wave a magic wand and make something change tomorrow, what would be at the top of your list?
At the top of my list, Keith, would be to do something like what South Carolina has done or Governor Pence did in Indiana a couple of months ago, and that is to recruit the most talented high school graduates and career changers who want to pursue education and to support the cost of their education with the expectations that they'll have outstanding preparation and will stay in our schools in North Carolina. These programs have been extremely successful and have reduced the cost of debt. For example, our students, many of them leave with loans that are going to be greater than the cost of the salary they're going to earn for their first couple of years in
college
teaching.
affordability is obviously a big issue for a
thing.
lot of students. I appreciate both of you for being here today. Up next, our audience will want to stick around because we have two outstanding North Carolina teachers joining us. Each is at a different point in their career. One is just beginning, and one is a veteran teacher with 13 years in the classroom. We'll ask them their perspective. But as we go to break, here's a question for you at home. What is the turnover rate of teachers leaving our state? We'll have the answer when we return.